787.
787 departure frequency 15 will be 1257.
257, thanks.
Can't get this.
Oi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SciFi And Friends 2019. It is only February 9th, or what is today?
I don't know.
It is only February 8th.
Close.
It took me, a month and 8 days to get the New Year podcast in, even though I'm like, hey, we're going to do a podcast on New Year's Eve. Yeah, it didn't happen. And, just to, as Sam Harris likes to say, a little bit of house cleaning. My goal for last year was 100 episodes. I did not reach that goal due to unforeseen circumstances. No excuses, okay? Excuse me, no excuses, okay? That was my goal. I only got to 43. That's okay for whatever, because I had bigger fish to fry. But for 2019, I'd like to get over 100, maybe 200. I don't know. I got to do the math, make sure I can appropriately do it. 2019 is a lot different than 2018. 2019, I quit my weekend job at Red Oak, and Kelsey started working full-time at Limelight. And so we're entering this year in 2019 as myself working full-time for my own company, Infinite Productions, while doing other side gigs like honeybees and gardening and redoing this building and trying to make a coffee shop out of it and stuff like that. Kelsey's doing full-time graphic design. So we're in a little bit of a different scenario. So hopefully that will increase the amount of podcasts that we do and will increase the diversity of guests that I bring on, whether they're, more Pitt State professors or, professionals in their own industry or just, I'd like to branch out. I'd like to keep the same guests. I love doing podcasts with Casey and Trevor. I love doing podcasts with, my buddies, but I also want to branch out and do podcasts with other people that I'm not so familiar with, that maybe are experts in their own field and can teach us something. So hopefully 2019 is a big year. Hopefully 2019 is a big year for SciFi And Friends.
Yeah.
So, but let's see. My website is up, coltynseifert.com. It's probably 80% ready to go. It's got a couple blogs on there. The podcast section is totally ready to go. Every episode is up on my website. You can watch it there. You can go to YouTube. You can go to iTunes. The podcast's ready to go. The cinematic part, the reels and stuff, I haven't cut a reel yet. I've been working day and night on the Downstream documentary, which is complete and you should be able to rent it on Amazon Prime within the next week. So that's exciting. Besides that, check out my website, coltynseifert.com. Let me know what you think. And anything else housekeeping-wise? I really can't think of anything right now.
Besides our actual housekeeping?
Well, yeah, the dishes need to be done. And there are literally 2 loads of laundry that have sat there since 2018. And we just dig through and find the clothes that we need.
Joking.
Unfortunately not.
They're just different clothes.
But yeah, so anyway, big things in store for this podcast and for each other, Kelsey and I, for Infinite, for myself, for everything, for Casey, for the whole shabungle. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. And so I just appreciate you tuning in, and let's get this baby rolling. My favorite guest and my favorite person. I told her I wanted her to be the very first guest of 2019, and so actually I had to turn down a couple of podcast guests, like, hey, you can't come on yet. We'll get you on, but not yet until the wifey comes on. So please welcome the beautiful, the one and only Kelsey Seifert. I think that's exactly what you did last time that I introduced you. You're like, woo.
I have applause going back.
It's just like Indian in the cupboard. I feel like Indian in the cupboard's like
Indian in the cupboard?
Yeah, like someone really small is clapping for you. when you say that, woo, I just see like a little person, maybe 3 little people.
They're the people that pour our wine.
Like the borrowers. I see like 3 little borrowers, which I fucking hate that movie. But I see Three Little Borrowers, and they're like, it's not. I hate it because I was forced to watch it so many times in elementary because the teachers were lazy on those days. You know, I love my teachers in elementary, but just those days, you know, they had a hangover or something. And they're like, oh, these
We
kids.
were watching The Borrowers.
I know, and I'm
on
like,
repeat today.
Please, not again. Anything. Let's do math, please. I hated that fucking movie. But
Mine
anyway.
was always like that mouse on a motorcycle.
Oh, Stuart Little.
No.
Don't you dare talk bad about Stuart Little.
Nuh-uh. All three were great.
One of your favorite movies.
This is like
Stuart Little 2, The Return.
this is like the it's a book too. It's just a little mouse on a red motorcycle that rides through a house. I used to have to watch that all the time. Like it reminds, like I don't know, your borrow situation. Except I don't hate it.
Is it called Mouse on a Motorcycle?
It's that.
It's literally called Mouse on a Motorcycle.
I knew it.
I feel like it's definitely someone from.
Oh, you'll love it. It's 4 hours and 43 minutes.
Is it this?
I'm just kidding.
This is what they fucking made you.
Oh, God.
This is it.
It's a little scarier.
I won't be able to show this on the podcast.
Hold on. This is it. This is great.
Keith, you're supposed to be in bed.
Keith, are you?
Ready, Mom.
I'm playing with my dick.
I'm taking my clothes off.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh, I can't make fun of an innocent movie like this.
Come over here.
Nope.
This is a different world. This is a world without Twitter and liberals and fucking Trump.
I'm done talking for the rest of the night. I'm just going to watch this.
No one's going to let you do that. It's literally called The Mouse.
I knew I was
The
close.
Mouse and the Motorcycle.
There's like a mouse and
Yeah.
a motorcycle.
Right.
He even just chose the motorcycle over that car.
I am drinking Blue Moon Honey Wheat. The podcast is not brought to you by Blue Moon, but I wish it was. Get out of my shot.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
I was showing them what I was drinking.
And Kelsey is drinking wine because she's...
I am a wino, guys. This is Sangre de Toro. It's a Garnacha.
Sangre de Toro.
Sangre de Toro. That.
Sangre de Toro.
Garnacha.
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 Anyway, is it good?
Eh.
It's all right?
It's all right. It's drinkable.
So how's 2019 going for you?
It's pretty good. Just trying to get things in order. Just trying to get my mind set, my mind focused, more confident. Just the usual goals that everybody tries to set for themselves at the beginning of the year. Lose weight.
Yeah, that's definitely on the list. It's always on the list.
Go to the gym.
Yeah.
Eat good food while being skinny. That's a goal of mine.
Right. You have the problem of eating good, like, clean food till you get skinny.
Yeah.
And then you go ape shit.
Dark.
Yeah.
It's my dark side.
Yeah. You do love food.
I know, guys. I can't help it.
Yeah, she's a foodie.
Big time. Potatoes, like French fries. I love French fries.
So does Andy Friselis.
Carbs.
But that's what Andy Friselis does, and Jocko and people like that, where they have a weakness. I think Jocko's weakness is it donuts or cupcakes, or like it's something kind of funny like that.
He has like a pinpointed weakness.
Yes.
Dogs.
I know. Good Lord. yeah. They. I know Jocko does, and I know Andy Friselis does for sure. They both have. Oh, and The Rock too. You know, like, have you ever seen The Rock's Cheat Day?
What?
Dude, you've never seen The Rock's Cheat Day?
No.
All right. Well, just to.
What is his weakness?
The Rock, pussy.
Waffles.
This is his cheat day. Like, that's some of his pictures that he posts to Instagram for his cheat day. That's a pile of blueberry pancakes. That's 3 or 4 pizzas. I mean, just carbo load. Look at all that sushi.
Jeez.
Yeah, look at all that. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Why can't I do this?
But he earned it. This is one.
You see those pieces of pepperoni?
Yeah, they're real pepperoni.
Okay.
That's real pepperoni.
Let's say they look weird.
Yeah, they're real. But I mean, he truly earned this,
Epic
and that's the
cheat
thing is like, if you can get to a point where you can earn a cheat day or a cheat meal, it tastes so good. It tastes so much better than just like,
I don't know.
French fries taste great, but
At
imagine
all times.
working out for like 2 weeks straight, super clean, spinach kale shakes or whatever, fast for a day here and there. Like, you're clean. Your mind is clean. Your thoughts are pure. I'm sorry. I know the thoughts are pure. I'm just like, oh, it's been so long since I've had pure thoughts. I saw like my little boy Coltyn in a field, like, oh, I'm almost out of coloring books. It's been so long, but
it's been so long since I've seen a mouse on a motorcycle.
Oh geez, but yeah, there's like, imagine that. And then you've been working out super hard. You got new PR records or personal records, PRs, I guess what they call them, what the CrossFit people call them. And then you look forward to one day where it's like, hey, there's football on today, and I'm going to eat a stack of pancakes with blueberries and syrup, and I'm not going to feel bad at all. I'm going to give myself permission to tear this stack of pancakes up, or wings or whatever.
There's a con to all that. It's only one day.
Yes, but the balance ratio is like, how many times have you had a cheat-like meal and then afterwards immediately regretted it and felt terrible, and you got in bed and you're like, oh, I ate too much. Like,
that sounded real.
It was real. This is beer. But I mean, yeah, how many times have you done that where it's like you feel regretful and you feel sluggish?
Too many times.
So I mean, that's the balance.
In bed.
Make sure that microphone follows you.
In bed, wallering, and I'm just like, so. I'm making sure the microphone follows me.
Oh yeah,
everywhere I
do
go.
it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep moving around like this.
You burn some calories.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, have you ever seen those chairs that you're supposed to be able to take at work? Like the Hawaiian chairs or something like that, and they literally do this, so your ab gets to work out while you're on the computer.
I would throw up. I would get sick and throw up.
Or they go like this. So your
Did they come with like a dildo right in the middle?
I don't know if it's necessary.
I'd buy one if they did.
I don't know if it's necessary.
Nobody's getting anything done. Nobody's coming to meetings.
I haven't even seen that face.
Nobody's coming to meetings. No one's sending emails.
Just sitting in my chair. What do you It's just as bad as that shake weight.
Oh man. First time I saw the shake weight commercial, I thought it was a farce. I literally thought this is going to be a funny. I'm going to see a 1-800-555-555-555 number, and it's going to be like, that was funny. Good job, guys. And then it was real. Mm-hmm. And then I saw one at Walmart, and it's like, oh my God.
I wonder who was the inventor.
I don't know. They got more money than I do, probably. So good for them.
I mean, don't they still sell them?
Maybe, probably. But going back to eating clean and getting disciplined and focusing on goals, like. Right. If you can have a cheat day, it doesn't even have to be cheat day for dieting. It could be a cheat day for. Here's an idea.
TV all day.
Okay, yeah, but not just TV. You can watch anything. Mm-hmm. You can watch that Storybrooke Place thing.
Come on now.
Once Upon a Time.
I love Once Upon a Time.
It's dog shit. But you could watch Once Upon.
It is dog shit.
It's terrible. You could like guilty-free watch Once Upon a Time. Like if that was a thing that you set up and you go, if I get 3 logos done this week, then come Saturday evening, I'm going to watch 5 hours straight of Once Upon a Time and not feel guilty. Yeah. That's the whole point, right? Of a cheat day.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. It is later. It feels...
Okay, Grandma, it's 9:00 on Friday night.
We did go to bed at 10 last night.
I didn't go to bed till 2.
I
watched Ted Bundy documentary and couldn't sleep because I am a young, beautiful brunette girl that could be. That's the whole thing. I'd get scared. I'd get scared and be like, he wouldn't give a fuck about me. He'd be going straight for you.
Man, what's up? What's that?
I'd get out of bed and be like, "It's ma'am." He's like, "Oh God, I'll kill you in a second."
Oh goodness, that's hilarious. I did have bad dreams about Ted Bundy. That freaked me out.
Yeah, that was a great. You know what? I came to the conclusion. You know how when the Ted Bundy trailer first dropped, you and I were laying in bed, and I'm not a crime guy at all. I don't really care for crime, anything except for crime itself. No, but I don't really care for crime videos or documentaries. Whatever.
Right.
But
Especially
that trailer got me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the music was awesome, and the music sounds just like something Pamu would make. Like, oh, I was like, okay, that sounds good. The cuts were on point. And I'm like, I want to watch that. So we ended up watching it or whatever. And remember how I was like, oh fuck, it's a fucking docuseries. I don't like docuseries. I just want a nice. I like docuseries now because I figured out what it does. It extends the story. Yeah. Well, it extends the story instead of
but
10 hours of Game of Thrones, which I'm all about. It was 4-hour documentary about Ted Bundy,
right? And
left out hardly any details,
right?
Because it's 4 hours.
That's because the story was there. You
That's
have
true.
To have that
That's
story,
true. Right?
I can't even think of something like. What's this? Remember that one that was out like last year? The year
Making
before
of
that?
a Murder.
Yeah.
Or Making a Murder.
Like you just lose interest because it was almost just like.
You better be careful because that's super popular.
It is. I lost interest.
Yeah.
You don't, and not everybody did. I lost interest because it was almost like, I don't know. It just kind of almost seemed set up. That's what it felt like.
Interesting.
It just felt like what you were telling me about earlier about like a troll, like trolling on, I don't know, just like what you were talking about earlier.
You're saying you felt like it was scripted?
I don't know, kind of.
Like the story, like it was too good to be true?
Yeah.
Oh, then you haven't watched Abducted in Plain Sight.
Well, I don't know, that's different. Wasn't that the same time around like Ted Bundy's time when all these killers were going crazy?
Well, a lot of stuff happened in the 70s. Coming off the 60s. Like if you think about American history and you have like World War I and shit's going crazy, and then you kind of have that little bit of down. But really what it was like a double...
All those drugs in the 70s and 60s?
Well, we're back... We're way back... We're way back at World War I. And what I was going to say is the time between World War I and World War II is kind of like the double bounce on a trampoline.
Sure.
You're in it and you're like, oh shit, I'm about to go so high. And there's nothing you can do. I kind of think like the world was like that.
Yeah.
They had this war and all of a sudden they're like,
double bounce on
oh shit, we're in a double bounce.
We're in a double bounce.
Oh, Daddy, we're in a double bounce. But you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
So the double bounce happens, and Hitler's like, rah, rah, blah, blah, all that kind
rah.
All that kind of stuff happens.
That's what you just did. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah. But that's what happened is they got into World War II, and that was a really big shakeup. And then after World War II, I mean, that was, I don't know, I'm not a big buff on history or particular world wars. If I had to be a buff on history, it's more ancient history is what I like.
Right.
But to me, especially the Second World War was like Control Alt Delete on planet or on society, because so many, like Japan was kind of reset with a couple of those big nukes that got dropped. A lot of Europe was all in disarray. Yeah. I mean, the whole world was just kind of like, oh man, we're kind of
off.
America was feeling good about itself. I mean, Russia, froze to death. I don't know what happened to Russia, but. So then you move from the 40s, late 40s to the 50s, and the 50s to me is where you get the factory system, like the Ford's factory system. You get public schooling as it is today.
That was before that, though.
Probably so, but that I just consider it.
That's how they kept going with it, really. Like Ford.
Well, they came from the war.
Yeah.
Right. The factory system.
They were started in the war.
Right.
So we can make.
Everyone works 40 hours a week because we're in a fucking war.
So we can get these can of foods to the people or something, or
military
like machines
shells to put in a tank or something.
Just pieces of the tank or something like that.
Right, and that's a lot of times.
That's history buff here.
I know, we're just talking out our ass right now, and a lot of times that's where women would enter into the workplace. That's why you have that.
They have to.
You have that one design, a photo of the girl, and she's got the bandana on. It's like, strong, or I don't know what it says, but it was a propaganda to get girls involved, women involved in the war,
Yeah.
specifically because I don't think they were allowed in the military.
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
No,
Who knows?
I would
wouldn't
say
think
they.
so.
I would say they probably weren't back then,
Yeah.
right? So they were trying to get
So
them
all
into
the
the.
men are gone.
That's
and
right.
Now the women have to get here.
Into the
so,
factories
yeah.
or whatever. So that's
Right.
kind of where that happened. And then, public schools are based off the factory system. They're all in rows and desks, and you're released by bells, which to me is very close to the fucking prison system, recess and released by bells and go to class and my teacher has big tits and no, not the last one. But you know what I mean? It's very similar.
Maybe not the last
Public schools and prisons have a lot of similarities,
Yeah. It's a controlled system.
It feels like
That's what it is.
It's
It is
prepping
a
you.
controlled system.
it's prepping you for they say it's prepping you for the real world. It's prepping you for a factory job.
Yeah. Which is weird because they want us to dream big and then.
Well, I'd say that's a farce in a lot of ways.
Right.
For most kids, that's not a possibility.
No.
And see, that's not to get too far off subject here because we're going to talk about the 70s and all the shit that happened in there, but not everyone's going to be a rocket scientist.
No.
So if you kind of have a hunch or you just know that a kid's not going to be a rocket scientist, do you tell him? Do you say, you can be anything you want to be, Kelsey? Anything you want to be. You can do it, right? Well, that's not true. But do we tell you that, hopefully that you'll take that and become something? Or do we say, I know you want to be a rocket scientist, but you're not smart enough. Or you're not cut out for it, right? It hurts. But what if yep, and she turns to the alcohol. But what if it's like, but you know what, Kelsey, I've seen your drawings and I've seen your colors, your coloring books, and you stay in the lines.
Sorry, that was a lot.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they say, hey, you have a really
Stay to
high
the line.
you have a really you have a really high artistic ability. Let's put you in these art classes and these computer classes, and let's push you in that direction because you have natural
But-
talent for it. So, like, what do you think about that? 'Cause I'm thirsty.
That would make sense, I think. But the only problem with that is, especially in public schools, those are the first thing that get cut.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, if I was in any other probably county even in my own school that I went to, our budgets just got slayed when I was in high school, I think. Because I wanted to do all this stuff, and McQueenie at the time, my art teacher, she's like, I'm sorry, but most of the stuff, if you want to do it, I can teach you, but you got to go pay for it yourself.
Right.
Because she had everything set up to like, I only have this much stuff for 5th grade and that kind of stuff. But anyways,
But that
it's an interesting thing. We were talking about this the other day too. I just think though that almost, I don't know, I feel like it would kind of, I can't find the right word for this, limit you,
maybe.
like what if you are meant to do something else? Excuse me.
I would argue that it would push you to do that.
But it's
If it's
almost,
like, if I really wanted to be a rocket scientist,
right.
if I really wanted to be it, I'll fucking do it.
But I mean,
Even
it's-
if you tell me,
but
if you say, if Miss New comes up to me and says, you ain't gonna be no rocket scientist, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna be like,
you son of a bitch.
I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong, and then work my ass off to prove you wrong. Like
Right.
that's a form of motivation.
Right.
Now,
but I
not
also-
everyone works that way.
No, I don't think everybody has the passion for something like that. We're stupid kids.
But okay,
Like we're just kids
so
that are
yes.
like okay.
Wouldn't that be good to avoid all that pain though of going, hey, I wasn't gonna be a rocket scientist anyway. Now I can focus on making this car part as perfectly as I possibly can.
I don't know. Do you really jump that big from here to here? I mean, that's a big jump.
It is a big jump.
But I know what you're trying to say. What if it's almost like a redundant thing by that time? It's like, oh, now this is the only thing I know how to do. I can't do.
Well, hopefully we wouldn't set the whole education system around that way. Hopefully it wouldn't be just one way, you know.
Right.
Hopefully it's a balance of, I mean, that's arguably the reason that we have an education system is to teach you how to think, right?
Yeah.
Especially college.
You're learning to learn.
College in particular is to teach you different ways to think.
Yeah.
That's what they say back in the day when college was super prominent, and it did set you apart. And it wasn't just PowerPoints and lectures and bullshit like that and snowflakes and all that fucking safe space and bullshit. But it was meant to teach you different ways of thinking. So someone would come in and they say, you know, this is a Catholic priest and he's going to talk about what he believes and why he believes and what he does. And well, the fucking kid in the back might be an atheist, but at least he would listen to this guy and go, well, he's got a pretty good point there. Me as an atheist, I don't have anything to say to the person that's got a dying mom. I can't be like, she's going to a better place, or sorry for your loss, you'll see her again in heaven. Like I can't say those because I don't believe in it. He has a better story, a better belief system with death. Right. He at least took that information in and was able to take those two ideas and kind of push them back and forth and go, I don't believe it, I don't even like it, I don't agree, but I can see what it's about, right? And then a lesbian would come in and she'd kind of tell, you know, there was just this, it seemed like there was more of an open dialogue with thought. And then when you went out into the real world, you kind of had all these different mindsets, you had all these different ideas within you, and you go, oh, okay, you know, I can see that. I don't know, maybe, I mean, I wasn't around back in the day. I don't know how politically charged it was, but just today it is just so shut down. I mean, you know, people are boycotting Jordan Peterson and all these people.
Right, but it's not at the same time. That's what's crazy. Like, it's
That's
not
true.
at the same time.
That's very true. Because
I mean, like, the stuff that you just talked about, I mean, yes, there were lesbians around then, but it was very less known. Like,
they just kept it to themselves.
Yeah, now it's not. Like,
well, it's not a big deal to us, right?
Right.
I don't give a shit.
No, don't care.
I mean,
but at the same time, like you're saying, it is, but it isn't. So it's like this weird invisible line.
That's true.
Go ahead. What were you?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. It's kind of true. Like it is the same, but it is different.
Yeah.
Like
we're open, but we're not open.
Well, we're more open in some areas, and we're way closed off in others.
Yeah.
Like way closed off.
It's like people like most people just went so drastic with everything that they like I was kind of saying about the whole kid thing. You're constraining this kid because you told him he's not smart and he can't be a rocket scientist. You're constraining these lesbians or whoever and saying you can't be lesbian because it's not allowed or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's almost it's like, I mean, that's what happened. That's what I feel like what happened. I mean, why would we have so many now compared to then? Right?
Well, maybe. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
That's true. I'm like shortening it up big time. There's a lot more to it.
To focus on the kids, okay, you're limiting this kid. You're saying, hey, I don't think you're going to be a rocket scientist. You know?
Right.
And, I mean, if you told me that as a young sixth grader or whatever, you're probably right. Actually, you're right. I'm not going to be a rocket scientist. For one, I don't have the drive or the passion, the desire, and I don't really have the knowledge either.
I hate math.
Well, yeah, I don't really I could do math, but I'm not on that level. See, it's even hard for me to admit it because I've been ingrained that I can do anything.
Yeah.
That's just when I was being brought up, the programming that I was installed with was I can be anything I want. Yep. And I responded, I wanted to be a rhinoceros. Ask my mom's true story. But really, so that's how I think. So
like
even
the life.
So even being poached and having your horn torn off.
Oh,
and
come on!
You only got 20 brothers and sisters left in the whole world, and but to me, so it's even hard for me to admit, like, no, you won't be a rocket scientist. But here's the thing, and this is what one of the things that Adam kind of taught me was, for one dream to live, another must die. It just, they can't live together. So the further that you walk down your hallway of life, you see all these doors, all these doors of potential. I can be a doctor, I could be a rock scientist, I could be a veterinarian, I could be a graphic designer, I could be a bum, I could be a train driver, I could be a brewer, it's endless, right? You have a whole hallway, and then you continue to walk down that hallway, and you pass doors and doors you walk. Sometimes you walk through a door and there's more doors, right? Yeah. More door. But at some point, you have to choose a door.
Right.
You can't walk through them all.
But I mean,
and it frees you up, instead of choosing, you go, I am choosing not to be a veterinarian.
I know.
And what happens? I feel so good. I don't have to worry about taking veterinarian tests, learning the anatomy about animals.
It's because I don't like blood.
Well, not just you in particular, just anybody. If they chose to not do something, they have abdicated themselves from that sort of pursuit. Right. And now that energy can be spent on something that they do want to pursue.
Right.
So it's kind of a pro-con type thing. It feels great to focus on the thing you love, but you kind of have to sacrifice the potential of anything.
However, there are hobbies. You're a hobbyist.
Yeah.
It's like what I like to call you. Because, I mean, you might not master the skill, but it's there. I know the dogs are just climbing all over us.
She didn't unplug the
I don't think
camera.
so.
No, I see it's working.
Okay. Anyways. So not all doors close.
No. Yeah, right. I agree. Not all doors closed.
But it does help. It does help to like hone in on this tree of these particular branches that you could push and pull into, whatever you want.
Well, it's the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Mm-hmm. And definitely of today, I call it the Wikipedia page. What would you call that? The not dynamic, the whatever, the epidemic, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. The Wikipedia page epidemic. Is everybody wants their first sentence on Wikipedia, myself included, to list off everything I'm involved in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just a white male that hunts. Coltyn Seifert is a writer, director, producer. He starred in pornography. He fucking wrote novels. He shoots his bow. He rolls Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He shoots his pistol. He loves his wife. He builds houses. He does coffee shops.
He loves his wife.
And twice. But but everybody wants that sentence to be super freaking long.
Right.
It just can't be. You can't be the best at something. You look at someone that is the best. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan, we'll say. Yeah. At basketball, right? He was one of, if
basketball.
not. Well, what happened when he went and played baseball?
He wasn't good.
Sucked.
Yeah. So
look at him.
Basketball player.
Isn't that a line from the movie? He's a basketball player.
It's something like that.
Something like that.
It's basketball.
But you cannot get to that level without jettisoning everything.
Right.
Else. Almost everything, including your
but
Saturday nights and family and stuff like that.
I think these days with our generation, it's hard not to be a jack of all trades.
Or just a jack of a few.
Yeah. It's super hard not to be and close to master in those few. Like, people practice these 5 things just enough. Like, say, like, your B thing really took off, but you're also a videographer and you like to make beer. Those 3 things right there, like.
I agree, but I have limitations of intelligence. I have limitations of
everybody needs
energy.
Help. Yeah.
I have limitations of passion. I have limitations of time.
Right.
So while, say, I become a master beekeeper, and a master beekeeper and a master novelist, well, the time I'm spending with the bees, I'm not writing novels, and the time I'm writing novels, I'm not spending with the bees. So the more hobbies or the more pursuits that you have, the more it cuts down on all of them because you spread out your time. Sure. And it comes a point to where I have endured something like this, to where you have so many, you don't do any.
Oh yeah.
Because while you're doing one, you wish you think you should be doing another.
Yeah. Or you're too scared to do it.
Or you're too scared.
I definitely did that.
Because you want to be good at it. Yeah. That's dangerous.
Yeah. It's super dangerous. And so you work at a clothing store for as long as I did.
Right. Yeah. because you were afraid to pursue something because you didn't want to find out that you're
I didn't
bad.
want to fail.
Well, you didn't want to find out that you're bad.
Yeah.
You wanted to think that you're
And
good.
then that just waterfalls to everything else you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that works in reverse too. So if
Yeah.
you do pursue something with courage and passion, well, that's going to trickle throughout your whole life.
Yeah. That's one of my goals. Once I get that confidence down, I'm going to shoot for the moon.
I was I was in an altered state of consciousness the other day, and I had what?
Gateway drug.
Shoot. Pussy's a gateway drug. But
Yeah.
what about it, bub? No, I was in an altered state of consciousness the other day, and I was and I do some of my best, not writing, but best
Overall life generating.
just exploring ideas in multiple dimensions, I guess is what you could say. Like a Rubik's Cube an idea, you know, instead of just being like, this yellow side is pretty. I'm like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of, and it moves. Oh shit, you know, so you can mess with it.
Mess it up.
Yeah.
And never figure out how to get it back together.
right. But, and I was thinking about challenges that I face myself, that I have to face every freaking day. And just this thought, this feeling, this understanding came through me, and it was like, you are going to have to battle this every day of your life until you die.
Yep.
It's not something that you're going to wake up one day and be like, I did it. I'm never going to look at porn again. I have conquered the porn beast.
Good job, babe.
Or, you know, sugar. I'm never going to eat sugar again in my life. I am sugar free. I'm going to get a tattoo that says sugar free. Whatever it is.
Wouldn't that be great? Watch out for the dog. Sorry.
Fine. Whatever that thing is that you're fucking battling.
Yeah.
It's forever. It's every day. It's like smokers. You talk about smokers. I don't smoke. But
don't either.
addiction to me on some level is addiction. It doesn't really matter. Addiction to addiction to X, whatever X is, it's kind of this. It kind of works the same for everybody's physiology or whatever. But smokers, you'll hear smokers say that they never give up. They never get rid of the desire, the sensation to have a cigarette.
Right.
They just continually have to make the decision, no. And that just made so much sense to me. I just understood that completely, to the sense of like, oh, everything I'm dealing with, good and bad, it's going to be forever. I have to, it's like, in my mind, I saw myself as a like Viking warrior, big, bloody, awesome sword.
Long brown ponytail.
No, it's just down. It's just down. I have like a black bear like hoodie thing on, and I'm fighting this demon. The demon comes out, it's gross, it's and we fight, chop its head off, I kill it, I win.
Yeah.
And I go back to my camp and I sleep. And when I wake up the next day,
Do it again.
shit, it's back, and it's just as big, just as powerful. I'm like, I already beat you.
Got
What the
two heads now.
Well, it doesn't. Well, no, it doesn't do that. Hopefully
It
not.
doesn't.
It just continues. Back.
You don't think it
I'm
gets
back.
tougher?
I'm back. No, it should get easier. Hopefully get.
I think it would go. It's like a hill. It gets tough and then it gets easier. Just like
If you're
going
first
on a
trying
diet.
to defeat a bad habit, say sugar or whatever, yeah, it's going to be tough. But after a while, say you haven't had sugar for 3 months,
Yeah.
you probably could turn down cookies pretty easily because you are out of it.
I can't.
You can't now, but you could then, because one, you'd be like, man, I've made so much progress. I
Yeah.
feel great. And I remember last time I had cookies, I felt like shit, you know? So the further you go, but the thing is that the desire and the sensation's still there, and you'll never be able to get rid of it. And that's the same with good habits.
Yeah.
With good habits, it's
why
like,
do you think-
I have to write. I need to fucking write.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think people with what's it called? Alcoholic Anonymous, whatever.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah. You get chips for
Yeah.
50th day.
Yep.
I need a chip for my 50th good day.
Okay, so and
I mean,
not
that's treats and cheat days and stuff like that.
yes, but if
assume in
you
that
if
factor.
you were serious about it enough, even for small things, like to me, sugar's small. I think that's a small thing, but maybe not to somebody else.
No.
To me, it's small. It's like smoking. Smoking's hilarious. Like I've never allowed a smoking in my life. I've never allowed it into my life.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with it. It's awesome. If someone asks if I want to smoke a cigarette, I'm like, no, I'm good.
thanks.
I know what that does. Blah, 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 right? It doesn't bother me. But it does to other people. Some people, the cigarette has the little puppet over their whole life. Yeah.
That's super weird.
And I'm not saying I'm better than them or anything, because I have my own fucking puppet masters
yeah.
that I got to deal with.
Everybody
that they don't have to.
Everybody does.
But, I think the techniques that maybe Alcoholics Anonymous uses are good techniques to implement into your own life.
Yeah.
To say, hey,
I mean,
I'm going to make a plan to where in 50 days, if I've eaten clean for 50 days, I'm going to have an entire cheesecake, or I'm going to have a piece of a cheesecake or something. So that you have that to look forward to. And say you go to a party and there's cheesecake there and you go, no, it's only day 30. I'm not going to do it. On day 50, I will have the cheesecake.
Day 31. Where's that damn cheesecake?
But really, that's the challenge, though,
Yeah, it is. It's a big challenge. Food is my weakness.
Well, and I know, a lot of Christians around this area, they don't believe in evolution or anything like that, but I totally believe in it. And it's just, it makes itself totally known in all aspects in that sense of behavior.
Mm-hmm. Actions.
I was going to say hobbies, habits, things like that.
Right.
That to me is all rooted in genetics.
Right.
You love food. What kind of food do you love? You like high fat, sugary food. Oh, how come? It's because, genetically, that was like a gift from God above back in the day when we were tree monkeys or whatever. When we found fruit, it's just like, oh my God.
Oh.
So
I
good.
was thinking like even just back in the day when I was a kid, just going to McDonald's.
Okay, so that's, totally.
Like
You were programmed.
at least three times a week for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you were programmed.
Yeah.
Why do you think McDonald's did so well? Oh, we put a toy in the kids' meal.
Genius.
That's
Genius.
evilly genius. Yeah.
Genius.
Let's feed these kids trash and give them a piece of plastic toy full of PCB or whatever it's called. CBD. No,
I got
CBD.
some like great Disney.
Hey, I
toys.
still have some of my Pikachu toys for sure.
Oh, those Beanie Babies.
But I mean that was a marketing strategy, but it does not abdicate them from the responsibility of feeding kids trash.
Yeah.
No. Nutritional trash.
You're right. I don't know. I don't know why they did
Give
it.
me toys and a kale shake.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, Daddy.
That's going to be my daughter.
Kale shakes.
My daughter's going to love kale shake.
Do I get beets today?
I would be so proud. Be so proud as I chug my beer. So proud of you, baby. Yeah, but I mean, you just got to know everyone's dealing with a bad habit or habits or trying to implement new habits. And it's just so strange to me that it takes so much effort to implement new habits.
Yeah.
I think it's Paul that says it in the New Testament. It's like something along. I'm going to paraphrase because it's been a while since I've heard it, but it's something like, we know what we need to do. We just don't know how to do what we know what we need to do. Something like that.
That made sense.
It does to me, right?
You gotta say it one more time.
We know what we need to do.
Uh-huh.
We just don't know how to do what we know that we need to do.
Okay.
I something along those lines in the sense of, I wake up and I know that today I need to work on my scripts. Mm-hmm. Yet some days, like today, I didn't.
I like sleeping in.
Well, I got caught up in the black conservatives that voted for Trump on YouTube, and it's like, and I think talking to you and Brock and listening to you guys talk back and forth about timekeeping, and you specifically keep time for Limelight.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what would my day look like if I broke it down in 15-minute increments?
Oof. You'd have what we like to call a margin time, where you were like,
No.
I don't know what I did.
Oh, no. I know what I did.
Okay, but you'd put that margin time because it's not really relevant.
Well, okay, in a business setting, no, it's not relevant. But just as a personal, like, what did I do with my time? Mm-hmm. What did I do? Was I productive? Was I resting? Mm-hmm. Was I wasting time? Was I neutral? Was I unplugged? All these sorts of things.
Yeah.
In the sense of, I thought Scott did a really good job with his time. He was very aware of when he was off, when he was working, and all that
I don't
kind
think
of
that's
stuff.
the same thing.
It's not.
Yeah, I think that's like a more of like a
time management.
time management. This is literally like me counting each 15 minutes that I spend on something.
Right, but I'm thinking
that's a lot of
about
work.
it more about in a sense of Jordan Peterson saying, speak the truth or at least don't lie, right?
Right?
So if you were to speak the truth or at least don't lie about your day,
Yeah.
well, what did you do at 9 o'clock in the morning from 9 to 9:15? Oh, well, I scrolled on Instagram for 15 minutes and I watched Instagram stories and I commented on Instagram posts.
That
That's the
sounds right.
truth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If that's what you did, I did
Yeah.
not do that.
I didn't.
I didn't do that either.
It's Friday.
But I
worked
have done.
today.
I have done that before, where I've literally just sat there and gone, over and over and over again. And so, if I were to see
Stupid
that
rabbit
in a
hole.
day, if I was to have someone compile that into a piece of paper and push it over to me at the end of the day, and goes, "Well, here's
your day.
put that in the book of life, the book of life of Coltyn. Here's how you spent your hours. And by the way, I don't know how much time you got left.
Yeah. 15 more minutes.
I don't know. You got one more second.
Yeah.
You got one more second.
Yeah.
You got one more second. You got one more second. That's all you get. You just
Yeah. That's it.
any second, it could be it.
About
Hopefully,
0.5 seconds, babe.
not even just any second. Boom, it could be that. This the next one could be it. You don't know. And so, if you were to be pushed over by this deity, this is what you did today, and you looked at it, would you be ashamed, proud,
I don't think
proudly ashamed? Where would you fall? And hopefully, I guess the goal would to be proud every day and said, God damn it, I gave my best. I fucking worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
I worked out. I accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish. I did not waste time,
And I mean, like, this is all driving back to your bad habits and your good habits. Don't think just resting is bad. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
Like, people need to chill out.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
I have people that I'm like, okay, I used to never sleep at all. Like, you know that. Like, I used to stay up till 3 a.m. and I'd wake up at 8 a.m. and I got good 5 hours of sleep, maybe.
And you were fine.
Yeah, totally fine. Now it's like I'm dragging myself to bed at like 10:30, hopefully, and then I like barely can even get up to take a shower at 6:30.
Right.
Like,
right.
I'm dying. And where was I going?
That's how tired you are.
What were we talking about?
You're just talking about like your bad habits.
Oh,
and,
yeah. I just being aware of your resting, being aware of like,
Oh, right. Not getting things crisscrossed.
Yeah,
where
like,
resting
don't-
is not a bad habit.
If you had this person, whoever it was, even just yourself, like, you just spent 5 hours watching a few movies and just eating, like, it's Saturday. It's okay. Hey, what's wrong with that?
I feel like you're trying to tell me something like, babe,
Tomorrow's
it's okay
Saturday.
if I watch 5 hours of This
Hey,
Is Us.
that's 2 movies. Ew, I don't watch that.
I know,
Sorry,
it's-
guys. I don't watch that.
No, I get what you're
That's
saying.
2 movies.
No, I get what you're saying.
A good
Well, it could
Lord
be
of the
anything.
Rings movie and
Could-
maybe a couple TV shows.
It could be anything, though. you
Yeah.
know.
I'm
It
just,
could be what's wrong with. But okay, so here's the part where it gets me. It's like, what's wrong with if you put the time in, you put the hard work in,
Yeah.
you stayed up late. Sorry,
this beer.
you worked out hard. You did whatever you're supposed to do, whatever
Yeah.
you're wanting to do. Well, what is wrong with relaxing? Even if it's, I sat on my front porch and I smoked a cigar and had a glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to
Dude,
do or whatever?
nothing's wrong with that.
I mean, it's not healthy, but it's what you've chosen to do.
Right.
And I'm not going to judge you for that or whatever. It's
Yeah.
what you want to do.
But during
But I
the summers,
totally
that's all,
agree.
like, well, not that,
Right.
but just laying in a hammock, listening to my Audible book
Mm-hmm.
and drinking wine. That's all I was fine. And I'm sorry. I'm not guilty. Or I don't feel guilty about
Well, you
it.
shouldn't be, though.
Yeah.
Unless, the only time I get guilty is if I haven't completed the things I've wanted to that day or that week. And then
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, oh, I'm just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I haven't done these things.
Get at the end of the night, it's like, dang it, the dishes are still there. The laundry's there from
That's
2 months
right.
ago.
That's right. Yeah.
And you just look at it, but it's 10:30. It's bedtime.
Right. And the funny thing is, while it takes a lot of energy and a lot of whatever you want to call it, a lot of energy
Right.
to get up and do that,
Yeah.
you feel so much better.
Ugh,
The nights that I've stayed up a little bit later, my feet fucking hurt.
yeah.
I go ahead and do the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
I wipe that counter off in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I go over to this is probably like a dad type thing to say, but I'll say, I'm not even a dad, but I go over to the light switch and I look at the whole kitchen. I'm like, that'll do, pig.
I was waiting for it.
But really, that's kind of how you, that's kind of how you feel. And then you kind of go to bed with a little bit, like, as Jordan Peterson would say, you've conquered the chaos a little bit. You've taken the chaos and made order out of it.
Dude, and then making that, like, waking up to that order in the morning
Yes.
is just freeing.
It is.
It is.
That's what
man.
Jocko will say, discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
If you have discipline seems like it seems like shackles
Yeah.
on you. I have to do this. I have to work out. I have to eat clean. I have to do my homework. I have to get my
But
work done.
there's
or
a
whatever.
point that you break, that you can break those shackles, and then they all break.
Well-
Like, that's what it feels like. What happens? Last time I did it. Last time I started working out, got really clean for a while, and everything just grew. Everything was so much better,
Right.
just from one starting point,
Right.
and then it all just helped from there.
Right. Well, what I was going to say with the Jocko thing is that when you do that thing,
Yeah.
you become free because you did it,
Mm-hmm.
and your mind isn't going, "Hey, you got to work out. Don't forget to work out. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 p.m. You better work out before you go to bed. It's 9:35. You better work out. Oh
He's
shit! It's
jumping.
12:35, and you're going to bed.
Why would you go work out at 12:35?
No, I'm tired. I already drank my beer. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then you chalk up the day as another loss.
Yeah.
Just throw it under the loss,
Just do some crunches in bed before you
That's
go to
better than
sleep.
nothing, but it's not, you know that you didn't give it your
doing
best,
crunches
right?
now.
I mean, unless you give it your best, that's also another thing. The amount of energy or passion that you give this thing also counts.
Right.
So if you're just lackadaisical typing your script and it's like, man,
That's how I look every day.
this is stupid. This script is not working. I'm not putting any effort into it. I'm just going to finish it. Well, you're probably going to type a pretty bad script,
Right.
and you're not going to feel good about it when you go to bed that night.
No.
If you really put your hard work into it, and you're like, man, I can't figure out how to get plot 1 and plot 2, and then you do figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like almost orgasmic to where your
Yeah.
head's, oh my God, I figured it out. I got it. And then
Yeah.
you use that momentum into your next challenge.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's all connected.
Yeah.
One part of your life, you change one part of your life, really it changes all the parts of your life.
I mean, just think about your day. Hi, bye. You just have one good thing happen in your day most of the time,
Yeah.
and it can just make your day.
Yeah.
Especially in a world where, in my world, in your world too, I feel like we're just all looking for mistakes. Like, my whole thing is where did I mess up? What detail did I not catch? That's what it feels like sometimes.
Not for me, for sure.
That's
No
what I
way.
feel like.
Wow.
It's just and it's not only on my end. It's whoever's looking at my stuff. You're looking at it. You're like, I don't know. That's just sometimes how I feel. And then someone's just like, this is great. Or what Brock got feedback on earlier on his logo, something like
Right.
this is exactly what I wanted.
Right.
I just didn't know how to do it, and that's the one they chose. Just something like that can just make your whole day and benefit every day after that.
Right.
If you feed off of it, you got to feed off of that.
I agree and disagree to an extent. Those sorts of things, those emotional responses, I try not to get too invested in.
It's hard. I'm
because
an emotional person.
To me, it's binary. If you give yourself into a good emotion,
Right.
you're going to have to give yourself to a bad emotion.
Yin and yang.
Yin and yang type thing. So to me, if you have a great day, like I remember when I went in and I talked to John Barry and those guys, and I pitched him like 10 ideas in a row, and he's like, yes, 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 I love them all. I came home and I'm like elated. I just felt so good. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe him. I told him about my HBO show, and he was interested, and I was just like, wow, I just won the lottery.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was kind of thinking like, hey man, what really happened?
Yeah.
Like, let's slow down here for a second. I'm glad you feel good, but you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And you need to work hard and make
He
this
just
thing.
said yes to everything you wanted to do.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, you still got to do these proposals. You got to do all this stuff. And that doesn't really mean yes.
Yeah.
So while this does feel good, don't chalk it up to like
No.
the end all be all. And the same with, the whole like downstream editing crisis. It's like, okay, that's not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah.
But let's not focus on that to where it just consumes you.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I got it finished. It's done.
Yeah.
And now I'm further along in
You
life.
had to move on.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is whatever state that you find yourself in at this current moment, and it ain't going to last.
Right.
Good or bad.
Right.
So I guess I'm saying two things. I'm saying if it's good, enjoy it, but don't depend on it.
Yeah.
If it's bad, endure it and know that it's going to pass. Right?
I mean, I get that too. But I don't think that it's a bad thing to maybe not depend on it is the right word, but almost just feed off of it. Like I was saying, like just take it as a +1 on your board, your counting board.
Yeah, for sure.
And just feed off of it. Don't make it like +100 and you've got it for the rest of the month or something like that. Like I just think
be
like,
proud of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, don't just take what he said and just be like whoa and humbleize yourself. It's more of just like taking it, feeding off of it, saying there are good things. I do good things and I'm making good things.
Right. Take it as a sign.
Yeah.
Take it as like a sign as hey, I wasn't quite sure where I was in the world. I wasn't quite sure about my own skills and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I kind of got a little bit of feedback here, and that's a good sign. I'm in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I got to keep moving on that direction.
So much growing.
Totally agree.
So much growing there. Everybody is. It's crazy. I feel like our jobs, like, I feel like it's just always my mind is just going.
They never stop.
All times. It's
they never
crazy.
stop.
Like, I'm just thinking all the time what I could do for the next social post for one of my clients, or the next video, or the next picture I'm taking next Wednesday, or something like that. I'm thinking of all this stuff going on, and then I'm like, oh, let's enjoy my time that I have with my husband, but I can't because I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's that's where I would recommend some meditation. Some separation between emotion, between that sort of stuff, between the different Kelseys that you are, the limelight Kelsey and the wife Kelsey and the, whatever. There's all these different Kelseys, and you got to be able to switch and swap from each one of those.
I feel like it's just like.
Right, I think you do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you should. I think it's just like. I think it's like this starting point that we're at. You just started. I just started 2 years ago. You just started.
I've been going since
forever.
6 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'm
this
just saying,
next stage has definitely been within the last 2 years.
Right. And so, like, yes, it's a startup, or yes, it's like your first job. Like, you're gonna want to do good. You're gonna want to like do 150%. But there's a point where you gotta just be like, no, you gotta take this time and not think about work or not think about anything like that. But I mean,
people work themselves to death.
I know.
Literally.
I don't know how they do it.
Well, literally, but also it's like.
But I am doing it.
You cannot be productive 100% of the time.
Yeah.
In fact, that downtime is really important, especially with creative people.
And that's what I was saying. Don't be guilty about your downtime. Don't be guilty about sitting around.
Right.
It's okay.
But you got to earn it.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
if you earned it, don't be guilty.
I'm just saying it's just crazy, like what and because I'm in the creative field, this is the only field I can draw from or speak to. Yes. I just feel like there's always things that are new. You have to always just stay on your toes. And I work with 30 different clients. So I just got to think of 100 different things in one day.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just how do you separate that time taking, and then also time for yourself or time with your kids. We don't have kids, but just time with your kids, whatever it is.
Right.
And how do you stay not guilty at times too? But I don't know.
Dude, I think it's discipline. I think it comes out. I've been reading that Jocko field manual, discipline field manual.
Mm-hmm.
And just the other day, the chapter, it's just like a page by page type thing. It's like a devotional, basically.
Right.
But the page that I read was something along the lines of acceptance. And it was saying, like, don't accept. Mm-hmm. Do not accept mediocrity. Do not accept the easy road. Don't allow your body to make decisions. You know, if you walk by some cupcakes and your body's going to go, want it. But your mind goes, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We're going to go work.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. Actually, Jordan Peterson talks about how you should talk to yourself. And in the sense of, how would you feel if a superior came to you and said, shut the fuck up? Right? You wouldn't really. You wouldn't respond very well.
Disrespected almost. Yeah. Degraded.
So what he talks about is talking to yourself in a kinder way to make deals with yourself. So instead of walking past the cupcakes and your body goes, please, 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 you go, now right now, let's go work on our design.
I have a confession.
And we'll come back. And if we get this done, we can have a bite of that cupcake. What do you say? Yeah. What do you say, kiddo? You know, but you do respond better that way. Yeah. If you talk to yourself in a kind way, it's really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. I got a cupcake today. I licked the icing. That's it, though. I threw it away after that.
It's up to you, man.
It's so difficult.
It's your choice.
It was such a good cupcake.
No, it's all good. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, you could eat whatever you want if you worked out hard.
I'm just more of salty person.
Me too.
Chips.
Me too. And it's better if you
let her out real quick.
Grab me another beer. I left my beer outside because it's 20 degrees. Instead of putting it in the freezer or the fridge, it's like put them outside. It's cold, but if I forget them, they'll explode. Hey, if you've made it this far, 1 hour and 25 seconds, I just want to say, come to 1020 and help us clean that up because Casey, he ruined it. Casey broke everything. He tore down all the walls. He ripped the plaster off the walls. And now it's destruction. It looks like World War II or something in there. But if you get time, swing on by, help us out. Usually we have some rando beers hanging out and just work real hard, have a good beer. And it's a good time for men to be men. Women are welcome as well, and we will be humans together and focus on the task at hand.
Woo.
And woo, there's that Indian in the cover. But yeah,
I think it's interesting how we just keep talking and talking and talking, and then there's this one subject that we never got back to.
Oh, what was that?
I think it was the 70s.
Oh.
How do we do that?
People are like,
we do that all
we've been waiting to listen to your opinions about the 70s.
Next podcast.
Well, basically, the only thing I was going to talk about with the 70s is that it was coming off of the 50s, which I thought the 50s kind of gave the idea of the nuclear family because the TV was there, the radio was there, media was getting started. Yeah. And media, to me, is fucking societal programming.
Right.
It teaches people how to behave, talk, whatever in society.
Right.
In our society.
Right.
We say this is okay, this is not okay. We show commercials of beer drinking because that's okay. But if you fucking smoke a doob, you're going to jail, right? That kind of stuff. And a lot of those TV shows, which were a reflection of the society, Leave It to Beaver and I Love Lucy and all that kind of stuff. Nuclear family. Husband went to the work, made the money. The wife stayed home, smoked cigarettes and drank martinis, right? And that projected into the 60s. And then in the 60s, what happened? You get the nuclear weapon, which is crazy. That's fucking crazy. And you get acid, right? Albert Hoffman discovered acid, lysergic acid. And a couple other things. You have Vietnam. And you have the president, God dang it.
There's a president there.
I want to say Lyndon B. Johnson. I'm not sure if that's right. But you have the presidential, that whole like scheme where he lied, Watergate and all that kind of crap.
Oh.
Then you had these riots. You had the civil rights movement. Like, just the 60s were just so charged. The music from the 60s is still some of my favorite music because it was so free. It was so explorative. It was so just creative. It was just, people were just trying everything.
Yeah.
And they weren't afraid. They weren't trying to make a hit. I don't think they were. I think they were just making music.
Yeah.
And that spirit comes through the music. I remember Casey saying one time he really got into Johnny Cash, and he read a bunch of Johnny Cash biographies and was listening to all these documentaries and albums and stuff. And he says, you know what? Johnny Cash would just write about his problems, his personal problems.
Right.
And people would listen and they could relate to that. They maybe didn't have the same problems, but they had similar problems.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, I feel the same way about what I'm going through in my life.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people write about general problems. Oh, I drank too much. My bar tab is too much. Blah, blah, blah. And people are like, they still relate, but it's not personal.
Yeah.
You know, and if they are personal, if they're not mainstream, they might not be personal. Then people kind of take to them a little bit more. They say, you know, a rapper that talks about growing up on the streets and his stepdad abused him and everything. I didn't experience that. But his anger or his motivation or anything like that, that's what I'm relating to. And I go, you know what? I didn't have a stepdad that beat me, but I have dreams and goals and aspirations. And you know what? I kind of feel the same way about my hopes and dreams and goals, same way you do. Rapper from Gangster Land or whatever. But it's true. And I've never forgot that quote. I'm like, that's so powerful, because that's kind of what I thought captured the moment of that music and that era, is that people had problems and they were personal instead of just we're just trying to get rich. We're just trying to do that. I'm not saying corruption wasn't there. Of course it was there. But and so anyway, so then right next door to the 60s was the fucking 70s. And what happened in the 70s? Illegal. You know, marijuana got illegal. Acid became illegal. Mushrooms became illegal. Like all that crap. That whole just say no. I think that was in the 90s. But all these drugs went cold. And then you had all those raids and everything, and but you still had the other end of the spectrum was the media was starting to increase, like the Ted Bundy documentary we saw. No one had filmed in a courtroom before, right? That was fucking crazy. But these television cameras, they were starting to get a little bit more connected, a little bit more live type feel. You know, people were getting a little bit more of a grasp of what was going on over here in the country and over there. And actually, we got some news from over the pond.
They're involved.
They're getting involved, and that was kind of speeding up, and things were getting a little bit more connected. And we had, you know, telephones in the house now, and you had your private line, and people had their own TVs. Like, it was just getting a little bit crazier, bit crazier. And that's kind of probably where a lot of that stuff really started to take gained a little bit more speed.
For sure.
And you got shit like Ted Bundy. Like, they said in the documentary that the word serial killer had not been, they didn't even know, they did not know what that meant.
No.
And to us, we're like, serial killer. Oh, yeah, I heard it when I was a kid.
Know exactly what that is.
Right, but back in the day, they just couldn't, the people of that time could not fathom a human being doing what he did.
Yeah, because that's
crazy.
That is a psycho.
But
and there was so many of them.
There were a lot
at
of
that
them.
time. What was that?
Well, there's a lot throughout all of history.
Well, right. But what was that stat that you had up the other day? Like the 70s were like the most prominent times for killing or something like that.
Well, just the last 4 or 5 documentaries that we've watched have been about killers or pedophiles or whatever. And they've all been around that time.
Yeah. And how much it grew. Like it wasn't 0, but it was like 10 to 50. Like that kind of thing. It was a big jump.
Dude, that gets into the argument of, let's pretend Ted Bundy happens, but the media does not cover it like they did.
Yeah. So would it still be 50?
Well, would people watching it go, yeah, if he did it, I could do it? Or, you know, those crazy people that watch it and
like,
I
think that way too. I want to do that too. Not me.
I was like, what?
No, I'm just thinking of people they're like, I've thought those same thoughts. Like, and this is he did it. I feel like that's the only way I'm going to be satisfied as well.
But haven't you had those thoughts? Haven't you had crazy thoughts like that?
No.
Okay, so I have. I have.
I don't think I've had crazy thoughts. I used to want to go live in the Care Bear land.
Okay,
But
that's not what I'm talking about. But like, this is a really, I'm not even sure if I want to talk about this, but it's a really like, be careful subject. But I'm gonna quote Jordan Peterson on this in the sense of like, if we were in the 1930s and 40s, you would be a Nazi.
why?
I would be a Nazi because the percentage of people that were Nazis and the diversity of people that lived around that time, the mathematics point to you being a Nazi and me being a Nazi. Because just
you won't
from
die.
just from sheer mathematics.
Okay.
The society was doing this one thing. They were all going in this one direction. They were all kind of swept up in the moment. There was this charismatic leader. And shit's going down, and people are pointing fingers. It's just like good people were Nazis. Good people.
Yeah.
They weren't all freaking killers
No,
like
I don't
Hitler
think they
or
all knew
Goring or
either.
whatever.
Not for a while. Not at first.
Okay.
Later on, yes. They're like, oh,
but
crap, we just did
that's
something
what
really
I mean
bad.
is that you would probably have been a Nazi, and I would have been too.
Mm-hmm.
Very unlikely that we would have been heroes of the Jewish people and hid them in our basements. And that's what Jordan Peterson talks about,
You would
is
hope
that
to be.
you would hope, absolutely, you would hope to be. But what Jordan would say is like, if you don't think you were a Nazi, you goddamn right you were a Nazi. If you are in denial and say, I wouldn't be a Nazi, it's like, well, you're naive, and yes, you would.
Yeah.
You definitely would be one. Now that draws on the idea that all people have darkness. All of us have darkness.
Why wouldn't we?
And the key is not to be naive, because naivety is a great place to take advantage of people. You know,
Or
people
your mind
that
to take over yourself.
people that are naive are easily taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the world and they're not tough.
Yeah.
Now what Jordan would talk about is the Jungian shadow, and integrating the shadow into who you are, the dark side, the evil.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's evil, but the darkness in you.
Yeah.
Integrate
I
the
don't
darkness.
think it's all evil. I think it's just,
But
dark.
It's part of you.
Yeah.
And until you can integrate that shadow, in fact, he has
Accept it.
Oh, dude, he has a great breakdown of the Lion King.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me
Before and after Simba integrates his shadow.
Yeah.
And the animators, knowingly or unknowingly, put it into the animation to where before he's like, his eyebrows are like down, he's kind of passive, he's kind of
Really?
like, oh yeah, it's amazing. He's kind of like standoffish, he's just a Hakuna Matata, he's just a boy, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Well, then he goes on a shamanic vision journey where the shaman Rafiki, a fucking shaman, takes him on a fucking spirit quest, right? Oh God,
Yeah.
what happens? He fucking comes into contact with his father or God, and he is basically endowed with his true identity, right? Boom. And his true identity has darkness and light, and they all integrate. And guess what happens when that happens? I'm getting goosebumps. He goes back to Pride Rock and kicks some ass.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you cannot go back to Pride Rock and kick some ass until you integrate your shadow. But back to the whole darkness thing, it's like when the Columbine shootings happened, and I remember like hearing what those kids said and what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought to myself, like, I get it.
Yeah.
I could see why they did that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to shoot up a school.
Right.
I made it through high school and never shot anybody. So yay on me. But at the time I was like, man, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
those guys were getting picked on. If I was getting picked on,
Dude.
I didn't really get picked on that much. I was a big kid, but
And
if I was,
and their hazing, that kind of stuff was like, I feel like it's way major, more than what, I don't know. Actually, there's still like crap that goes on now, but it's caught easier.
well, it's all
But-
online now.
Yeah. Then though, it was just like these kids could just get away with anything at the time to pick on those people.
Oh yeah. And then imagine the feeling that you get, and I know you get it, and I know I get it, because I know you get it because I get it, and I know everyone gets it because we're all fucking human.
Yeah.
The feeling you get when you truly get revenge.
Oh,
How good does it feel?
feels so good.
Feels so good.
I can still remember. I have a big moment.
I don't
in
know if
my
it's good or
life.
bad, but
I
yeah,
know.
we can all feel it.
Yeah, like I can still remember this exact moment at a lunch table in high school where it was just like, no, That's not right.
Right.
False.
Right.
Like, whatever I said.
Wrong.
Yeah. Whatever I said to this person, I'm not going to say their name, but I just, like, annihilated them.
Right.
What they used to do was just try to, like, embarrass me all the time. And they did it all the time in just little bits and pieces here and there. But I just took a big one and just went, like,
Right.
knocked him out.
Right.
With my words. And that's hard to come by. I'm not a wordy person.
Right. But how good did it feel to do that?
I still feel good about it today.
Exactly. So now take that feeling and then project it to where those guys did, and they went in there. Boom,
Yeah. Yeah.
boom, boom.
I know.
I get it. Whoa.
Well, I mean,
wow.
like, it's
Okay,
not good. It's not good to do that. But it happened.
Mm-hmm.
What are you supposed to do? You're defending yourself.
You know?
I mean, not that. I don't know. It's just
There
hard.
are
It's hard
better
to say
ways
that.
to handle
Way better
that
ways.
situation rather than kill all these people.
Yeah.
Because in their situation, they killed a lot of people that were innocent.
Yeah.
They killed a lot of people that had nothing to do with their hazing.
Right.
And they ruined a lot of lives in that sense,
Right.
including their own.
Yeah.
Don't forget they killed themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people will go, good, they're fucking monsters or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But they were almost like they're going to
Goddamn,
go
they're
down
human
with
beings.
me. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what Jordan Peterson will talk about. And it's like, until you can kind of reflect upon yourself and understand, like, wow, I am full of evil and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And that choice is always there.
Yeah.
To be evil. And not just the evil of, I'm going to go shoot up a school. That's fucking evil. There's also the evil of, I could say something right now that could really damage this person. Right?
Oh, that you're talking about me?
No, of course not. But I could.
Yeah.
I could annihilate you with words.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Well, no. But at the same time, I'm not a fucking sociopath, and I can project myself, me saying that, and the look on your face, and go, ooh, I can, and especially because we're married,
Yeah.
so I can really feel it because I'm really connected to you. But the same of like, until you can truly kind of comprehend that and understand, like, I better be careful because I can cause a lot of damage to other people,
Yeah. And to yourself if you allow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's still stuff of me that I'm figuring out all the time, and
you will for the rest of your life.
yeah, and I'm just trying to accept it. I didn't realize how emotional I was until like the past few years, really.
Well, it's not like, I don't think it's that you're emotional. I think that you're easily
I'm not saying
this is not the right
I'm
word.
not saying like crying all the time, like emotional, just meaning in the way of like all my emotions are pretty heightened.
Well,
I guess if that's what I want to say.
I think
I'm not always
outside.
sad. I'm not always mad.
No.
Like when people say emotional, I think like crying more than anything. I'm talking about just overall, all my emotions
Right.
are all heightened for
Right.
some reason.
Well, that I agree with that. Yeah, and that's not just you. Everyone has that.
Yeah.
But I see it as that you are easily affected by outside sources.
Yeah, I
that's
know.
what I see.
I don't like it.
Well, like for instance, not to pick on you or anything, but like you really look to other people for admiration,
Oh, yeah.
right? Or acceptance. You go, Mom.
Not acceptance.
What
but
did you think?
well,
Did you
sure.
like what I cooked? I've heard you say this.
I know, but
Did you
I
like
like
what
it.
And you know, honestly, I've never thought bad about it and everything. I actually found it fascinating because I don't understand it. I'm like, oh wow, like okay, well, let's pretend Kelsey's mom says no, fuck no, it tastes like shit. Oh,
Yeah.
well, what does she feel?
Yeah.
Okay, let's pretend that Kelsey's mom says it was delicious, baby,
Yeah.
great job, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just interested
I think it's
that you're
because,
seeking
like,
that,
I
right?
think it's a lot more, not a lot more often, but it's just like, I just cooked dinner for you. It's been 20 minutes. You've ate 30 bites and you haven't said a dang thing. How am I going to know if I'm going to make this again or not?
But
To that point.
I think it's
Not
more
always. I
No,
do.
no.
I do like people. Like I do like people to like, good job.
right.
Like I like that. I like people patting me on the back. And
Do you
being
think
like,
that's a girl thing? Do you think that's a Kelsey
I think
thing?
it's
Like
a Kelsey thing.
Kelsey thing?
I don't think it's just a Kelsey thing. I think several people do it, but I don't know. I think it's because you get to a certain age where you're learning, and as you're learning, you're getting like, good job, and then you get here to now, and it's just like, why would I say good job? You're supposed to be
Right.
doing that.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And it's just sad to see that go. Like, I mean, I feel like I give you good criticism.
Right.
And I feel like I tell you good job when it is good. And then I'll just be like, I think you could change the color on this or something like that. You know what I mean, though?
I was thinking like sex. Good job. I think you could change the power of your hump right here.
Twist your hip this way.
No, but like you said, it's good criticism, right?
Yeah.
Like
I just don't know.
yeah.
Like, I think it's because I feel like I give pretty good. What?
the mic.
I feel like I give pretty good criticism in a manner speaking. And then I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where I need people to tell me good job. I don't understand it either.
Well, I think it's a pretty common thing.
I think
but
it's because
just
I'm
something
scared of failure more than that. I think it's because I'm so scared to fail that if I don't hear that I did a good job sometime today, then I've failed.
Okay, so to me, I'm about to play armchair psychologist or whatever they call that.
Oh boy.
But to me, that signals to me that you as an adult are not secure enough to tell yourself good job. Rather, you seek outside expression of admiration from people that you may admire or maybe not admire at all. But because you don't feel secure in yourself as an adult, as a professional or whatever, that you don't trust yourself, you don't respect yourself enough to go, I don't give a fuck what anybody else says as long as I say it's okay. Which is also dangerous. Yeah. Because you could be doing a shit job.
McGregor.
Well,
he's doing a good job.
That one's a little bit more he's a little bit more complicated because he's a fighter, and
Yeah.
so it does play into that. Like,
Right,
you got to
right.
be, he's a gladiator. You got to
Right.
be ultra confident all the time.
For sure.
Or you're going to get pummeled. But
I don't know. I don't think, I mean, like, I don't like talking about myself.
I love it.
I don't think it's that I don't really think it's all the time. I just think it's just there. It is living inside of me, those issues, like everybody else. They have
it's
their
everybody
issues.
for sure.
And I don't think it's all the time. I think I'm overcoming it a little bit every day to a point to where it's like, well, what are you going to do?
Right. Mine is similar, but mine is more narrowed to where there's like maybe 5 people in my life that could just obliterate me
Mm-hmm.
if they sent me the wrong text message or if they called me and cussed me out or something.
Yeah.
But everybody else can go fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck.
If Bobby sent me a message, I'd probably cry.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Who's Bobby?
Isn't that Aubrey's
Oh,
nickname?
Aubrey? Yeah.
What's Aubrey's nickname?
Well, I mean, Aubrey, I would be like
I'm
bummed out with Aubrey. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, what the hell? But it wouldn't like throw me
No.
off.
I'm just kidding.
If
You would make me cry.
If
Aubrey.
John Barry called me and cussed me out, I would be a little bit more shook because he's more of a role. He's more of like I look up to him. I look up to him as a leader. I look up to him as a person. I look up to him as, all these things. And so he's kind of like in a hero status. And there's nothing worse to Coltyn than a hero coming down and going, fuck you, or whatever.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit. I'm like, oh my God, it hurts so bad.
But maybe that's also a good time.
Well, it's a challenge. It's really a challenge to overcome and go. It's really the challenge. I guess what you could render it down to is it's the challenge of basically Kratos and killing the gods and going, I don't need you. I'm trying to do a Kratos, but it is. It's Kratos. The story of Kratos is totally fictional and it's from a video game, but it works here. Kratos takes on the gods of Olympus, and the people rely upon these gods for gifts and blessings and all these things. And Kratos says, fuck you. I don't need you. You guys actually suck. You're worse than people. In fact, I'm going to come out there and cut your head off. So, so he goes up, and the bad part about that whole logical story is that he becomes a god himself and then gets trapped in the whole, the whole thing. But it's in that sense of
besides the point.
My armchair psychologist could be rendered down to exactly the same thing as what I did to you, is that I am looking for admiration and acceptance through these particular people, and I should be able to shrug them off and be like, I do admire what you say, but if you tell me something, if you do not admire me, then I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You can't really point that on yourself, because I think that's with everybody. I think everybody has those people, whether there's 2 or 3 of them or a lot of them.
But shouldn't we try to overcome them?
Why?
So that we're not relying on them.
I don't know. I feel like I really don't know that answer, because I know everybody has that somebody. Everyone I know that, like, more personally, I feel like has that somebody. Mm-hmm. I really think that. I mean, I could pinpoint out yours. I can go to work and pinpoint out those people.
Right.
I can point out everybody except Aaron. I don't know Aaron's little.
No, but he's got one just like everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody has one. I think I have just a little bit more like of. I want people to like me, so I have a little bit more so, but.
Well, a little bit more broader range rather than mine's more focused.
Right. I think mine can kind of reach a little bit of most people I come in contact with, depending on who they are. But I really do think that I don't know. You just can't put that on yourself, because I just feel like I can pinpoint out the few people that if they did something to me, they'd just or text message. That'd be it.
Well, I guess it is, now that we're talking through this, and it's kind of nice because it's fun to talk about these sorts of things, because I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But I guess it is.
That's how you tighten it.
I guess it's just a feature of being vulnerable. And as a Homo sapien, we are very social creatures. Yeah. And the idea of the lone wolf, it's not real. Like, humans can't survive on their own. They go fucking crazy, you know. Dad, he always talks about going up. I'd love to go to the Alaskan wilderness and live by myself and everything, and he probably could, But everybody but him, everybody but him.
I think he could to an extent.
Well, not to pick on Dad, but like he does that. He isolates himself. But what happens when he finds
he's
another?
Not vulnerable.
Oh yes, he is. Just like everybody is. But
I don't feel like it.
Oh yes, he is. But here's the thing: is like, what does Dad do when another human's around that's halfway decent? He talks their fucking head off.
Oh yeah,
talks their head off.
Yeah, and walks them out the door. He's a gentleman.
Yeah, because he, part of that is because he is isolated in a lot of ways. But my point is that humans cannot live on their own, and that no matter how hard you try, you cannot free yourself from the social hierarchical dynamic web,
right? And
to do so is actually foolish, and that you just kind of maybe have to accept that there are people that have power over you. Parents being a big one. Parents have a lot of power over their kids.
Most people have. I mean, whether you like them or not, there's power there. Most people that I know that don't like their parents, it's almost more power, because they don't want to be their parents, or they are so overwhelmed with the dislike that it's way more powerful.
Them.
Yeah, way more powerful
than just accepting.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has their issues.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not pinpointing out any of our parents' issues, but we deal with them. him and I, we talk about him and we deal with him and we just move on. We vent and that's it.
Well,
like
and-
normal people.
Yeah, and then the number one fucking problem that people will always run into in that scenario is, I'm not going to do what they did. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, you probably won't. You probably make
Yeah.
all new mistakes,
Yeah.
you know, like.
Or you'll do the exact same.
Right. So, you know, Dad used to say this, you can't get to a place on the map if you lie
Yeah.
to yourself where you start. So it's like, and his example was, are you a racist? You might be. Tell yourself that. Say, I'm a racist. And bam, guess what? You just pinpoint on an accurate position on the map and you go, ugh, I'm in the racist territory.
I don't want to.
You don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
You have to kind of acknowledge that you are there.
Yeah.
But you don't have to stay there.
That's every starting point. That's
Absolutely.
not just racism.
Well, that was
but I'm just saying.
I mean, he was using that example because that's very powerful. That's a very
It's a
powerful.
big one. That's a
That's
big
one
one.
that no one wants to admit. No one wants
Yeah.
to fucking be racist. I don't want to be
Yeah.
racist. No one wants to be racist.
Yeah.
But
But
there are
there are
racist-
people that are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you really want to change, you kind of have to admit to yourself, like, God damn. Another one is like, man, I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I procrastinate. Like,
Yeah.
if you just say, well, I don't have enough time. My job takes a lot of my time, or I don't have enough, whatever. It's like, well, actually, you're just lazy. You have
Yeah.
all the time in the world. Every day you have 2 hours before work and you have 2 hours after work. You can type your script or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can build your wooden table, but
And, I
until
mean,
you're completely honest with yourself, you'll tell yourself that you're over here on the map, and then you'll end up way over here because you lied to yourself. And
Yeah.
now you're in another position, and maybe you even lose yourself on the map.
Yeah.
Which good luck finding your position
It's like what
without GPS technology.
it's just like I always kind of like Adam's thing too. Like you're looking at this weed or this flower, and it's like and that's your mom or your dad. I don't want to be this. And you just keep looking at it because you don't want to get near it. But you're just getting nearer and nearer every time you move because that's the only thing you're paying attention to.
Well, it's the idea that whatever you focus on is what you will.
You're focusing
That's
on
what you're
it.
focusing on, right?
Yeah.
So instead of so what they'll say is, right, you're exactly right. Instead of saying and focusing on, I'm not going to be like my mom and dad. I'm not going to be like my mom and dad. Focus on, I'm going to spend more time with my kids. I'm going to read them bedtime stories. Whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Focus on the good change rather than what you don't want to become, because the longer you stare at that, that's what you're going to become. It's like a firefly and a light, or not a fire, a bug and a light, or a bug and a fire.
Yeah.
You stare at those things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just got to accept your family. I know some people that I'm just like, yeah, that does suck. That does suck to have that. I did not have that life, or I did not have parents like that. My parents loved me.
Yeah.
And why am I bitching
Well,
about it, you know?
You have unique parental issues, right?
Yeah.
Just like they have unique. There are
Right.
probably more people that deal with bad parents than good parents,
Yeah.
but good parents also have. I
Bad
think it's
thing.
about damn near impossible to raise a kid perfectly, right? I
Oh.
mean, the kid's flawed, you're flawed, society's flawed.
Raising a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you look at your parents. Sorry.
Excuse me.
You look at your parents, specifically our two pairs of parents, and you say, yeah, they made a lot of mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
but they did the best with what they knew at that time.
Yeah. Totally.
Casey and I have talked about this where, mom and dad, our mom and dad, Leslie and Doug, they didn't have the internet to Google a question.
Yeah.
They didn't have a bunch of parenting books to look at and say, what do we do when they do this? They had a bunch of probably, anecdotes from their parents.
Yeah.
And that about when they were kids and what to do and what not to do.
Which is
wives'
even crazier than-
wives' tales and
Yeah.
shit. And then in the moment, they're just like, what do we do?
Yeah.
I've never been to this. I've never had this experience before with a kid. I don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
But they have to. They have to.
Yeah.
They have to respond in a timely manner, to discipline, to reward, to do something.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't the right choice. So you can't really hold that against them. You say,
Mm-hmm.
man, my parents, and see what that does.
Mm-hmm.
It releases you.
Yeah.
And you say, and it actually envelops and creates love towards them.
Mm-hmm.
which is way better
Yeah.
than resentment and hate.
Man,
Than just love and acceptance and going,
Excuse
what
me.
the fuck does it matter anyway? We're all dead. This is black holes smashing into each other.
Keep talking. I'm gonna let the dog in.
But it's kind of like, oh, I love my mom and dad. You know, they did the best they possibly could. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of the flaws that I have. And I'm proud of the strengths that I have. And that I will work on my flaws every day of my life until I fucking lay in a coffin and they put me in the ground. If I'm lucky enough to lay in a fucking coffin, you know, I might get in a car wreck and get blown to pieces. Who knows? Who fucking knows?
Don't do that.
If I'm lucky enough to lay in a coffin. But
Yikes.
it's just kind of like, man,
Lucky enough to lay in a coffin.
love
I'm being cremated.
is the answer. You know, it comes down to that. Love is the fucking answer. I mean,
It
just
is.
love. When you think about love, you know, the Buddhists, or not the Buddhists, these particular monks, I forget if it has a name or not, but it's a type of meditation. And it's a meditation where you take the love. So let's pretend probably the most powerful love that you have is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be selfish or anything, but probably so.
He's right.
You don't have a kid or anything, so there's not much to compete with. It's me. You have the most love for your husband.
And his is the computer.
And you I love you.
Did you hear that in his voice? It was just hard for him to say.
I was looking at her.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, really. I know I love you. No. I would fucking piss on
I
that.
love you.
I would piss on that if I had to. Piss on you too, but
Gross.
no, but what they'll do is they'll sit down and they'll think of the most powerful love that they've ever felt. So the most powerful love that you've ever felt is probably towards me, and probably on wedding day, our wedding day. That was, to me,
That was a big one.
yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest days where I just felt like the most powerful. Like, God, wow, this is super, super powerful. And you take that feeling and you put it on your enemy.
That's hard.
But it's not.
It is.
Just think of your enemy. Let me think of one. I don't really have many, but okay, you can just pick Trump. Let's just pick Trump. You know, a lot of people do not like Trump. I got mixed feelings about him, but Trump, oh my gosh, we fucking hate him, right?
I don't know the guy.
Now take that love and just imagine Trump sitting on the end of the table, and you just have that love go, not sexual love, not carnal love, just love. You want him to be happy. You want him to be fed and watered. You want him to,
like any other human being.
you want him to be laughing. You want him to have a nice place to go at night. You want him to all these things. And it totally changes the way you think about people.
Yeah.
Especially people that you dislike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's damn near impossible to stop that transformation.
Yeah.
To stop the feeling of loving. So you can't stop it. And it changes the way you think about people.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the time that you and I were in California. You and I had to grow as a relationship. There was times that we totally could have hated each other.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised. Sometimes I was surprised that, like, no offense, baby, I love you. But we had a hard time for several times. But we did it with love, not hate. I didn't hate you. I never hated you.
No.
I was mad, but I loved you.
Right.
It was more of like, I love you so damn much that I'm going to just sit here with you, even if we're sitting in silence until we figure this out. No leaving the room, no walking away, no hateful words to each other because we love each other, but I'm mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean like,
that's
we didn't have a choice either.
No.
You couldn't you couldn't run to your mom's house.
No.
She was 1,600 miles away.
Right. I mean, just take that, like you said, take that love that you have for that person, for whoever it is, and let it be on every little thing you do.
Right.
Everything. I don't think you and I would be where we are if we didn't allow for that. We could have allowed hate. I think if we allowed hate the way when some of those things happened and we still got married, I think we'd be a different couple. I think we'd be a different couple. I think we'd be a couple that wouldn't mind yelling at each other and actually mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you and I yell at each other, most of the time we're just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Right after.
Well, I can't really remember a time that we yelled at each
No,
other.
that's true. I'm just saying, like, and if we do, it's normally yelling
We're
like,
drunk.
"Where are you?" I'm in the office.
Right.
Which office?
Right. Yeah. Come here, watch this Game of Thrones trailer.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, people don't think about that's when you can get stuck in your emotions. You can get stuck in your emotions super easily, especially with somebody that means the world to you. I always try to, I don't know. I've had several people like, "Man, you two are like just infatuated with each other, like talking about us. Like, how'd you get there?" or whatever it is. And I just because I'm just like, well, I just love him.
Right.
Like, I don't know how else to answer you besides saying, like, I love him. We were stuck in an apartment together, and we had to grow together in love, not hate. That one just always charges me. That really charges me.
Yeah. It's, you can't tell him this because it won't make sense to him, but it's a continual self-death over and over again. You can say, if you come to this difference between your significant other, you can say, I can keep myself alive and I can kill them.
Yeah.
And I'll move on and I'll live.
Yeah.
This version of me will continue to live.
Right.
But they'll die.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's almost never the right choice.
Right.
What you have to say is, I'm sorry, buddy, you're wrong. And kill it. Basically, kill. Metaphorically, you are allowing yourself to die and be reborn new, right?
Yeah.
That's the metaphorical. That's the mythological. That's
Right.
the metaphysical type of thinking, especially in a relationship.
Right.
You go,
Kimura wants
all
to
right,
say
well, well,
Hi.
the way that I am is not really working with her or
Right.
him. So guess what? You got to go. Because it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
The new Coltyn, the new Kelsey has to arise from these ashes, and hopefully, and see, that's not just with relationships. That's with everything.
Yeah.
You walk into your first day of college and you go, "All right, buddy, it's been fun, but you gotta die. You gotta die, and the new you is going to arise from these ashes after this class."
Yeah.
Now that's a little bit dramatic.
Yeah. But it's with everything, whether it's at this level or this level. I mean, like, that's why our wedding day was so powerful. I feel like, no offense, baby, you were one of the more selfish people I knew.
No doubt I was.
And
I am.
I don't feel like I was ever selfish, but until until that wedding day, I was like, oh man, I am selfish. Like, I felt it take over. Just because it was like, this could be it. Like, this could be the last person I'm ever with. And I had to let that go. That, I feel like, besides the love, I feel like being selfless was one of the bigger things too. That, and we just getting married. A lot of people don't believe in it, and I feel like those are the two biggest things that allow for you to believe in it.
Yeah. I think Adam had a lot to do with that too, though.
Right.
Because I didn't know this, but weddings can be hijacked so easily.
Right.
By a photographer, by a family member,
Right.
by a DJ. So many people. I didn't understand this till Adam kind of broke it down to us and pointed out, like, by the way, they want to take pictures right now and it's not their wedding. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Holy crap, you're right. When he looked at us and he says, I don't care if anyone hates me after this. I'm going to give you two your wedding. That's why you hired me, or that's why you brought me here. And I didn't understand it, because when I went to weddings, I was always in the crowd. I'm like, open bar,
Woohoo, they got to kiss. Woohoo.
Well, I've been to some powerful weddings. You missed Bronson and Riley's wedding.
I know.
And that one was the first,
I'm sorry.
that was the first wedding that I could kind of remember and being like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Yeah.
I haven't been to a wedding like that where it was, wow.
Do you think it's also because you were already engaged by that time and it almost changed your mindset because you knew you were getting married?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think that had much of an effect on me.
Okay.
No offense or anything, but
no, I was just really
it was
curious.
just you didn't know because there were Kim was there,
Right.
Josh was there, and they were not engaged,
Right.
and they knew. Anders was there. He knew. I mean, he knew as much as I did that whatever we just witnessed, whatever we just saw during the ceremony, during the reception, like
Just that power.
oh my God, it was. Yes, it was. Getting goosebumps, just kind of reliving it all. Like
Yeah.
it was a very, very charged
Right.
ceremony, you know. And a lot of people, you know, they'll look at ceremony. Sorry, they'll look at ceremony on all levels as kind of prehistoric and archaic. And the older that I get, I just think that ceremony is too powerful to just cut out of society.
Yeah.
Specifically, a few things. One, boy to man, girl to woman. That ceremony needs
If you
to be,
allow it.
it needs to be brought back.
Yeah.
No, it needs to be brought back. The quinceañera or whatever they call that. The Mexican that when they do that.
Something like that.
The Jewish people, they have a thing, a
Bar
bar mitzvah
mitzvah
type thing.
Sorry, guys.
I think
Cultured.
I really think everyone should have something like that to where, hey, guess what, Kelsey? Yesterday you were a girl, and when you got in trouble, we treated you like a child, a girl, and when you got a nice report on your grade card, we treated you like a girl. When you did your chores, we treated you like a girl. Today, we're gonna treat you like a woman forever,
Yeah.
from here on out. I know you're 12, but you're a woman.
Yeah.
I'm your father. You're a woman. I'm your mother. I'm going to acknowledge you as a woman.
Yeah.
Grandfather, grandmother, brother, sister. From now on, the ceremony, everyone comes and they say, "Hear ye, hear ye." Does anybody have a
Dilly dilly.
Does anybody have a problem? Does anybody have a concern that we will now acknowledge this child as a woman? No? Great. Kelsey, from now on, you are a woman.
Good. I've been married
Okay.
for 3 years now.
So now this goes back to what we were talking about earlier and how people have power over you.
Right.
So if those people that have power speak that upon you,
That would help.
you can't deny it.
No.
You do not have the power to deny a blessing like that.
Uh-uh.
So my point is that those sorts of ceremonies need to be brought back.
Yeah.
Fathers speaking over their sons saying, "You're a man.
Yeah.
You're 10 years old. You're a man.
Yeah.
And you need to act like it."
Tin's a little young.
Well, people, as fathers, as parents, as guardians, uncles, I'm an uncle or whatever, we should decide when the time is right for each person.
Right.
Some boys might come of age at 10. Some might come at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Some might be at 20 or something. But you kind of have to.
I still feel like.
Sometimes you have to gauge it, and you have to
feel
say,
like I'm still like a kid that's lost.
yeah, but if
Sometimes.
someone had told you, specifically your mother,
Yeah.
who is the matriarch
Yeah.
of your family, said, "You are a woman from
Right.
now on."
And pushed
I
it.
told your sister, Caressa, that she was a woman, and now I'm telling you, and
Right.
I'll tell Katie someday.
Yeah.
Right?
And pushed it
You can't
too.
stop it.
Pushed didn't like
They
the,
did
like
it.
the punishment, like say I'm not saying like
Right.
punishment as the main thing, but I'm just saying like you treat the people you treat
Just grabbing a beer.
you're good.
Go ahead.
I know. Hold on.
Oh.
I was thinking. Now I've lost all my thoughts. You treat them as a woman. So, and this is a stupid punishment, but just say something like, "I was texting still at 2 a.m. at 13 years old." well, why am I still freaking texting at 2 a.m. at 13 years old? And so then you punish them as a woman, not a girl. Like, yes, like that kind of stuff.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, like, even stuff like that. But there's also things that I feel like I think that's a good point, but I think that's also a point to where it's a gradual thing too. You don't just go like, you're a woman, time to get a job, time to make all, like, you know what I mean? Like, people can take it pretty strictly.
I get you.
Like, I know tons of girls that I went to school with, like, their parents wouldn't pay for anything, and I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to wear, like, I mean, I still had to work, but I honestly couldn't. I mean, I would go to school, and sports at that time were important to me, and I would play sports till, like, until practice was over, go eat dinner, come back to the gym, and play more sports with Dad, whatever sport that was at the time. And I just now got nervous. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a gradual thing that I feel like should happen. It shouldn't. I mean, you state it. That doesn't mean they can't come crying to you if they have a problem. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But
there's that vulnerability still, like, because there's still this, when you're an adult, especially guy adults, I feel like there's still sometimes a stigma of, like, you can't cry. Like, excuse me, at 10-year-olds, you cannot cry from now on because you are a man. I sound like Ron Swanson right there.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, there should be, like, I'm stating this because I want you to be one. I want you to treat yourself like one. I want you to act like one, and I will treat you like this.
Right.
So let's gradually get to a point of where you feel respectful of you respect yourself, like, in that kind of thing, to where I can also respect you like that.
Right. I agree. I think of it in the sense of jujitsu belts. So when you have this ceremony and you say, hey, kid, you are not a kid anymore. You are a man. You're not a boy from now on. And you look at all your ancestors, and you look at all your relatives, and you look at all your friends, because that's what happens at a wedding, right?
Right.
Friends and family, right? They're there to witness.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they be there at a boy to man, girl to woman type thing? And you say, would everyone stand if you acknowledge this boy as a man? Stand. Whew, that makes me want to cry because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And you cannot deny that blessing. But at the sense of, it's kind of the same sense that your instructor walks up to you and says, no more white belt. It's time for a blue belt. And you're like, oh, fuck, I'm not a blue belt, you know? I don't know anything, you know?
Yeah.
I still know exactly what I knew when I walked into class today, but my belt's different color, right? But it's an acknowledgement that you are different, but it's not over.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You are a man. You are a woman. But you're not paying a mortgage and raising kids.
Yeah.
But from here, this is the moment that everything changed.
Yeah.
And that this is the moment that you start clearing out your mind of childish things and you start planting your garden of adulthood. And I see the sad face that you just gave me, and I understand that lost innocence is sad. It's a sad moment. It's a thing that you can never get back, but it's also a thing that I think is meant to be lost.
Right. I just think that I'm not a parent, but I'm putting myself in the parent position because my time as a child has passed.
Right.
So I'm putting myself as a parent position, and to watch that end is kind of sad too.
But it's the same thing. To me, it's the same thing as, spoiler alert, Santa Claus is not real.
Right.
To me, no one told me, right? No one told me that Santa Claus was not real. Now, I didn't really have a big struggle with this. I believed it, of course, when I was a kid, but at some point I just kind of stopped believing it. No one really had to tell me. But it would have been more auspicious for myself if someone would have told me
Yeah.
and given me a clear, no more, right? They just go, it's done. To someone that I look up to, like my dad, and I trust my dad.
Yeah.
I love my dad. I look up to my dad more than anybody in the whole world. My dad is the best, the ideal, right? And if he were to say, Santa Claus is not real, we just celebrate it as a tradition. We tell this myth to these two kids, and as adults, we like to celebrate it with the kids because it reminds us of the magic of childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I wouldn't have got that as a kid. Maybe I'd have been like, Santa Claus is real.
It is sad.
That's Polar Express.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But in the sense of it gives a clear timeline to the person, to this child, to this human.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about with the ceremony.
Right.
Because do you know when I became a man? Me neither. It just
had to happen.
It's kind of between this time period of, this is going to sound really funny. It's kind of between this time period of moving to California, taking huge 6 grams of mushrooms, and getting married.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that whole thing, I kind of was like, oh shit. I'm a man. You know?
Did you just look down at your boobs?
I looked down at my hairy chest. That's what Joe Rogan talks about in his stand-up about being called sir. He's like, I used to call sir to everybody, and I went through the grocery line, and the guy goes, have a great day, sir. And you're like, what? I'm a sir! When did that happen? How did that happen? Oh, shit! He's like, I thought when I got to this point, I'd know what was going on. Fuck, nobody knows what's going on.
Never.
Yeah.
I agree. I like... I don't know. Like, when do you call yourself in my case, woman? Was it my first job? Was it the first day I bought my car? Was it the first day of college? Was it the day I got married? Was it, like, how do you state that?
Nope. It's internal.
Yeah.
It's not external.
I know, but, like, taking it by points. Like,
it's internal. The moment you take a moment and you reflect and you go, I'm not a girl anymore. I'm a woman. That's it right there. Boom.
Sure,
That's it.
Sure. So what's the point of these?
I'm talking in particular with your situation because you didn't have a ceremony.
I know.
Oh.
I'm just telling you, this is where I had no idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, when was it? Because in my mind, just like when I'm trying to figure out directions, I'm looking for landmarks.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm looking for that landmark that I'm like, oh, that's the day I became a woman. Yeah. Cool. Right. I got 2 ice cream cones that day.
Right. And I see what you're saying because I obviously had the same thing with becoming a man.
Yeah.
But I also think of another way of thinking about it is I don't know when I became a man.
Right.
But I know I'm one right now.
Yeah.
And I'll know I'm one tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I know I'm one the next day. Mm-hmm. So that's all I got to worry about.
Right.
Is I might have been a late bloomer. I didn't become a man until I was 25. I didn't become a man until I was 26. I can't pinpoint it down to an age or a time.
Right.
But guess fucking what? I'm a man right now.
Yep.
And I'm a man for as long as I choose to be, and really that's what it is. It's a choice because I can still make boyish choices for sure. I can still choose to be arrogant. I can still choose to be selfish. I can still choose to be small-minded, snarky, all these things. And those to me are childish choices where I can choose to be humble, brave, kind, confident. And to me, those are man choices.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say man, yes, there is a distinction between man and woman. That's a very controversial subject, which is beyond me. But there is a difference. There are things that women do better. There is a feministic type of energy that a man cannot fulfill. Mm-hmm. That's why a boy, a child with maybe, this is getting into some dark water. That's maybe why a child with same-sex parents, Oof, I'm not going to go there. I can't
Okay.
speak. I can't speak on that.
Yeah.
I was going to say
'Cause
this.
you don't know.
I was going to say this. I was going to say that a child with same-sex parents doesn't have the same upbringing as a child with two different sex parents. That kind of makes sense to me, but I do know a lot of people that are same-sex marriage and have kids, and they're doing just fine.
Yeah.
So I can't say that in all confidence.
Right.
So, but I can say that there is a feministic type of energy, a motherly type of energy that kids need.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a fatherly, masculine type energy
Yeah.
that children need. And it's difficult for instance, like a single parent. It's very difficult for a single father or a single mother to play both roles.
Yeah.
How do you be the enforcer of the rules, protector of life, and teacher of skills, and the nurturer, the lover, the forgiver, the giver of life at the same time?
Yeah.
That's kind of why you have these yin-yang opposites.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, like I said, getting into the same sex stuff, we need to talk about that. Not saying it's bad, but how does that affect a kid?
Yeah.
How does that
If
affect?
it does.
If it does, how does that affect the family?
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect society? I don't know. That's a way bigger question,
Yeah.
a way bigger thought to work through, and we're already 2 hours into this podcast, and I'm not gay, and honestly, I'd actually like to talk to a gay person or a gay couple and get their ideas on it, and
I'm glad.
or
he's
actually,
not
what
gay.
would be best would be to talk to a child that was raised by a same-sex couple
Mhm.
and see what they have to say. You know,
Mhm. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know any of that. But sorry. Wish it would just follow me.
One
I'm
of
just
these
getting
days.
comfortable.
One of these days.
And the dogs are just like going crazy over here. All I can say is there should be a point. I feel like I agree with you. I would love a point to where I feel like I'm a woman, or I feel like there's that possibility that I can be a woman. Not that I don't see it, like one day you'll be a woman, that kind of thing. But like, that's a terrifying thing. That comes with a lot of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And to have your family respect that and notice you like that would have been awesome. Like, not that they don't see me like that now, or they could have seen me like that a long time ago. I just don't remember because I was stupid. That'd be cool.
What would actually be kind of cool would be to have the ceremony still.
Wow, we have been going 2 hours.
Like,
Yeah.
what would be wrong with building a big bonfire, inviting your family over, inviting your family over.
They're so over it.
Hey, inviting your family over and telling them, like, this is what we want you to do. We want you to walk around the fire. Because you got to have a ceremony.
I know.
Because people are so...
I think I'm too old. But
No,
if
you're not, though.
I
You're
don't
not.
want to.
You're not, though. I think it's super powerful.
I've already proclaimed it.
Yes. But, okay, I'll speak for myself. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind my dad's coming up to me and saying, huge bonfires raging behind me. And he goes...
He's putting the scene together.
I want you to walk, if Dad says this to me, I want you to walk around the camp. I want you to walk around that bonfire 2 times. Okay. I'll walk around twice. He comes back and he goes, I want you to walk around 2 more times. But this time I want you to think about being a boy. And I want you to, each thought that you have being a boy, toss into the fire. Okay, Dad. I'll walk around and I toss all these thoughts into the fire. And I come back and Dad says, now, those thoughts that are in the fire that you left as a boy have been burned and molded and turned into the thoughts of a man. Walk around the fire 2 more times and pull those thoughts out and put them back into you. And then I walk around the fire 2 more times and I pull those thoughts out And he comes back and he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, now you're a man. Powerful.
Yeah.
I'm 29 years old. Would shake me to my fucking core.
Yeah.
Would never be the same. I plan on doing that to my son. I hope to do that to Kyan, my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not his father, but I'd like to do something with Ryan. I'd like to do something with Marty, with Larry, with all the men of his family, and conduct something like that.
Yeah.
To where it's like, you know, I would, if I was a boy, this is what I want. I would want them to dig a fucking grave. Dig a hole in the ground. And I'm going to go lay in it. And I want each one. I'm not kidding. Listen, I'm not kidding. I'm going to go lay in this hole in the ground. And each male of my family will take a handful of dirt and they're just going to drop it on me. And they're going to speak a blessing over me.
You have to be in the dirt.
Yes. Because it's a symbolism of self-death, death and resurrection, boy to man, that kind of thing. The very last person I want to let this handful of dirt go, not have to be on my head or anything, just on my body, is Dad. And I want him to speak the last blessing and then say, come out, arise as a man. Mm-hmm. I've left the boy in the ground. I've buried the boy. And I've arisen a man. That's what I would like to do. I guess I should do that instead of doing laps around the fire.
Right.
But I
don't
don't
know.
know. It'd still be powerful.
It would be. I don't think I could do it right now, but it would probably help both sides. My parents and me.
You know, I was thinking about, like, I was spoken over when I was a kid. When I was a baby, this girl said at church, she said, I have a prophecy. I need to speak a prophecy over this kid. Me. And she said something about, I don't know if they have it written down or if they have a video of it or something, but basically this girl is like, this kid is going to be a powerful prayer warrior. You know, he's going to be blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking about that today as I was cleaning out 1020. I was like, what the fuck is a prayer warrior? What is a prayer warrior? I've thought about this a lot. 29. Been thinking about it since my mom told me when I was like 4. And the longer I think about it, because I don't really subscribe to the Christian type of life. I don't really subscribe to any religion, but I do believe there's a God, and I believe there's a spiritual realm. I believe there's a soul.
And I don't agree, or I don't not agree.
Right.
Whatever, because we've been so blessed. So.
Right, but I don't want to get into the religions part of it. But
right.
Prayer warrior. Now, the reason I mention religion is because prayer warrior usually gets caught up in Christian Catholic type bullshit.
Yeah.
But the longer I've thought about it, it's like, listen, prayer warrior is not someone that, sits in a room by himself and prays for people. I think that's part of it, actually. I think that's part of the gig. But to me, prayer warrior is someone that literally speaks blessings upon people. Mm-hmm. So if he sees someone struggling, just walk up to him. Or if you know them, obviously it might help. And you know that they're struggling, you say, listen, can I speak blessing over you? Because some of the times in California when I was part of that whole Christian movement, the most powerful times were when people would speak over me, prayer-wise or blessing-wise. Those were fucking powerful, like supercharged powerful. And I just kind of realized, like, yeah, that's what a prayer warrior does.
Yeah.
So if you see someone, say, oh, they're struggling with this, or they need some encouragement, or, I remember one time Bronson fucking texted me out of the blue and said, be free. You're free now. And I was struggling with some dark shit that night, And it was like that fast. A text. Hadn't talked to him for days. Mm-hmm. Be free. How was that planned? How was that so timely? Mm-hmm. How was that so perfect to where I'm like, I'm about to go some dark places in my life, and then nope, I got you, bro. Like, grab my hand.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's kind of what a prayer warrior is. Now that's the first step of going, oh, okay. Now how do you use it, and how do you teach people to use it?
Right.
That's the next step. Probably will be a blog post after some point. So
I like it.
she's done with this podcast.
I'm not done. It's just, what time is it? Oh my gosh, it's only 11.
Yeah, we've been going for what 220, 208. That's good. Alrighty, well, welcome to 2019, February 8th.
Yeah. Get some deep talks in there today.
Yeah, that was good.
Start off with a mouse on a motorcycle.
Forgot about that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, everyone, thanks for hanging out, listening to us talk. Like I said, 2019 is going to be a great year for the podcast.
Cheers.
We're going to have a lot of good guests. Tomorrow I'm having Patrick Garcia on. I love Pat. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, has a lot of good ideas about living off the land. He lives on about 100 acres outside of Joplin, and just a really good dude, so it'd be good to have him on. We're not live yet. Hopefully by mid-2019. That's my goal. Mid-2019, we'll get the right equipment in here to go live. What that will do is a couple of things. One, live shows. You'll be able to tune in literally while we're recording. Two, it will take out the editing process for me completely. So I will be able to do more shows because I'm not going to be sitting on the computer editing these things, trying to put them up on the web. So that's going to be great. But it is a considerable amount of money. I think it's about $2,000 to get the right equipment to go live. Yeah, it's a chunk. But it's not out of our reach. So, we do have a Patreon page if you want to donate, or if you want to just stop by 1020 and drop a check off, whatever. Donations are accepted. If not, whatever, fuck it. I'll get the money. I'll do it myself. But I love you. No, I appreciate you listening to this stuff. It's fun to make these. I love you. Definitely love you. It's fun to make these. It's fun to learn how to communicate, how to have a conversation, how to think through ideas, how to produce a podcast. It's fun for me. So I appreciate everyone listening. Looking forward to a bright and fun 2019. And yeah, baby, have a great week.
Bye.
Peace.
787. 787 departure frequency on the will be 125 Dennis.
SciFi wins.